Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. Last night, the big story, which is the big story today, Joe Biden pardons Hunter Biden after the White House press secretary had said many times that Joe Biden would not pardon Hunter Biden. A lot of people in an outrage over this today, but should they really be in an outrage? A politician lied. I mean, do politicians do anything other than lie? It's amazing that there's any support for the Democratic or Republican Party at this day and age because that's really all these people ever do is lie, lie, and lie some more and not follow through with promises. And another big part of that is a lot of times big events will happen when these people take office, and that has to change the course of the administration, and people don't see through that either, how it's all part of one big rigged script and they got to get the right actors in there to sell the lies. And I'm here to tell you, Joe Biden's been playing up the part of being senile for the last 4 years. There's a reason that he fell off a cliff as soon as he got in the White House. And there's a reason the guy before him was a Hollywood actor, and the guy before him was a lifelong Democrat from Hollywood who became a part of the Republican Party once he got into politics, which sounds like the exact same story as the other guy who ran on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And of course, I'm comparing Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan, both Hollywood actors who were lifelong Democrats who became Republicans once they were politicians. And again, you got the Republicans saying that the Biden administration, Kamala Harris, are a bunch of communists. But of course, it was Donald Trump who just ushered in communism with his last administration. And I don't know how everyone forgot that. I suppose it's because it's the United States of amnesia. It's the Republicans who think the Democrats are going to take their guns. But it was Donald Trump who, when he was president, said, I like take the guns first, due process second. Again, this is one big political shit show. And a lot of you guys have been so hung up on this Hunter Biden criminal story and his laptop. And I've been telling you the whole time, it's nothing but political theater. Ask yourself, why would the Democratic Party, which has tens of millions of members, untold numbers of politicians in their wings, why would they ever even look to Joe Biden, an old senile man with a crack addict son, to be the face of their party? Like, in what world would that ever be the move if it wasn't just one big divisive shit show that's meant to polarize the nation further and further and drive people further and further apart into the wings of their two parties, which are really wings of the same bird that both participate in the shit show. Again, these are the things people don't think about, and they should. And really, it's because we have a non-thinking nation. We have a order-following, authority-obeying, authority-trusting nation. If it came through the screen, it must be true. Remember Richard Nixon, and we're going to get to Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was elected the president the year Joe Biden was elected a senator. That was back in 1972. We're going to get to the parallels between Richard Nixon's pardon by Gerald Ford and this ritual with Hunter Biden being pardoned last night on a Sunday. Perfect ritual for a Sunday it was. You can't get more Catholic than Sunday. And again, for people who need to get caught up, we were pretty much the only people more than a year before the 2020 election who were saying it was going to be rigged for Biden, why he'd be elected number 46, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, in tribute to JFK, the only other Catholic president who was killed at age 46, when 46 is symbolic to Catholicism because there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. And then you learn that Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers, you realize the word Catholic itself has a gematria value of 46, just like sacrifice. Let's not forget what happened to poor Beau Biden at age 46. We're going to bring it all together again. Yeah, all of these rituals, they always pay tribute to history, and they love to pay tribute to Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. You might remember the Christine Blasey Ford testimony against the second Supreme Court pick by Donald Trump, the Georgetown prep grad that raped girls when he was there. Christine Blasey Ford coming out and saying that he drugged her and likely raped her. You might recall that whole story and how that whole thing was a tribute to Gerald Ford replacing Richard Nixon. You can go back, we were covering that years ago now. But here we are again, all the parallels in the media. If you're not following the story, they're saying this is the biggest presidential pardon since Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. And if you go back and look, you'll see that Richard Nixon resigned on August 9th, was pardoned on September 8th, which is the Virgin Mary's birthday. Hello, Catholicism. The thing about August 9th and September 8th is both of those dates can be written 8/9. You know, in the US, we'd write August 9th, 8/9. The majority of the world would write September 8th, 8/9. The majority of the world writes the day before the month. But the thing about both of them being written 8/9, it's kind of like 89, the 24th prime number. Been talking about that pattern all year in a million different rituals, including the rigged football games. Harbaugh getting his 89th win with Michigan, winning the championship to start 24. Patrick Mahomes getting his 89th career win to win the championship for the Chiefs. And again, Missouri's the 24th state, and that was also the 24th playoff win for the Chiefs, and they won the Super Bowl. But there's been 1,000 others between then. I always remember the sports games the most because that's what people care about. But 89, 24, it's been a thing all year. And let's just go through piece by piece. We're going to start with how, if you're watching the story this morning, you keep seeing this same footage, the same one that AP led with up here. Pretty much AP syndicates all the news that everybody just follows. But you're seeing the shot of Biden and Hunter, or I should say Joe Biden and Hunter Biden walking out of this property. I believe this is their vacation home in Delaware. I might be mistaken about that, but apparently this is where they were when the news broke. They're walking out of again, I think it is the Delaware vacation property, but you can see the AP shot's got the big 40 over Joe Biden's shoulder, right? And 40 is not an arbitrary number. Very biblical number. Again, for people who don't know, the Catholic Church gave us the language, the calendar, the Bible as we know it, and they've synced up this Kabbalistic system of letters and numbers and dates by this code. But notice, from Hunter Biden being found guilty on June 11th, and we'll go back and look at that ritual in case you forgot, June 11th to the pardon December 1st was 173 days later, and that's the 40th prime number. And again, in Gematria, United States equals 40. The letters US alone also equal 40. If you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language. You're looking at the 2 most profound, the most simple, the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z. The 26 letters 26. You just add up the letters U, which is the 21st letter of the alphabetic order, and S, it's 40. If you take the alphabetic order with numerology applied, United States is 40. U, the 21st letter, is now the numerology of 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's why I use 3 in the blue cipher. N, the 14th letter, is 1 plus 4 is 5. I, the 9th letter, it's already a single digit, so it's 9. T, the 20th letter, is 2 plus 0 is 2. E's the 5th letter. D's the 4th. S, the 19th letter. The numerology of 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1, so S is 1. So on. You just make each letter a single digit number, then add up the word. United States 40, US 40. Again, big news for the US. More polarizing news. Again, you got the left right now who's outraged that Donald Trump, after all these indictments and being the proud pussy grabber who said on record that he'd like to have sex with his own daughter, that this guy's coming back to be the president of the United States again. They're thinking, oh my God, who are my fellow Americans who'd vote for this sick, deranged man? And then, you know, the right's all annoyed right now. Man, this Hunter Biden, he's gotten away with so many things. He was only even guilty of those 3 little puny crimes. He's been selling our state secrets to China. You know, it's like all of you guys are caught up in the shit show. Go back a few more Republican presidents to the time of George Herbert Walker Bush, talking about a new world order that will be realized. 11 years to the day of his son being the president, when the World Trade Center came crumbling to the ground in the 11th state, and yada, yada, yada. And then you got, you know, how about the guy who's about to go back in there again, as we told you many years ago, exactly how it would go down, as he'd come back as the split-term president. he just happened to be at the World Economic Forum, the same one that simulated the pandemic on the day that the first case is confirmed in the United States, gloating about his trade deal with China and how the world will never be the same again. And again, go back and check the dates, you guys. Trump signed off on his trade deal with China January 15th, 2020. The official story is that's the first day that the case of cooties, the first case in the world, went outside of mainland China and landed in Bill Gates' backyard, the land of the world's biggest needle. But then that was January 15th, the day of the trade deal with China. And go back and look at the Event 201 simulation. We're going to get to how this comes 201 weeks after Biden took office. Again, 201, very special number to the cabal, as we'll revisit again for the millionth time. But again, Event 201 simulation put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China. And the only CDCs in the world that participated were China and the US. And then they're the first two nations with it. And they have the trade deal. And then Trump's literally at the World Economic Forum that simulated it on the day that the news breaks that it's confirmed in the US. And again, these are the stories everyone should be outraged about, that they're literally simulating locking down the world with pandemics and mass vaccinating and blah, blah, blah. They're literally simulating their plans, and nobody knows about these. But go survey America about Event 201. Maybe 1 in 100 people will know about it. Go survey them about Hunter Biden's laptop. Half of them will know about it. Hunter Biden's laptop has nothing to do with nothing, other than it's symbolic that, yeah, there is a new world order and these states are working together and sharing secrets and screwing over their people. And, there's a justice system for us, but not for them. I mean, that's what this is all symbolic of. But this is a puppet show. And that's why every single story has rolled out by the numbers, just like today's story has. And this is what everyone should want to talk about. Okay, so let's keep it going. Again, you see how mathematics equates to 112 and 40? Again, alphabetic order with numerology. Just going with this ritual, 173 days after the guilty verdict, the 40th prime, the media has to show you them coming out of building 40 for the pardon story. Again, for the psyop to divide the nation. And the date, December 12th, can be written did I say December 12th? I think I misspoke. The 1st of December, the day of the pardon, can be written 1/12, like 112. Mathematics has that 112 and 40 connection. Catholicism has that 112 connection. Again, they're the ones that gave us the language and the calendar and the Bible as we know it. And the 4th book of the Bible is Numbers. A Jewish person is going to say, hey, we gave you the first 5 books of the Bible. Those are the first 5 books of Moses, the Torah. Okay, fair enough. But again, this is the way the Bible as we know it is. 4th book is Numbers. All these numbers break down to 4 in numerology. In numerology, 4 represents foundation. Numbers are the foundation of these people's system. But again, notice how Roman Catholicism is also 173. For the record, Knights Templar is 173. Again, military order of the Catholic Church. Skull and Bones at Yale gets their symbolism from them. And I'm not sure if Hunter Biden was in Skull and Bones. He did go to Yale. I imagine he's one of the 40. I imagine he was in one of the 41 secret societies at Yale. But we're going to come back to Hunter Biden going to Yale, like so many world elite have. Okay. December 1st, 2024 was a date with 57 numerology, okay? Hunter Biden, Gematria 57. Scottish Rite, Gematria 57. Again, remember, the Scottish Rite shares the motto with the Jesuits in Marum Dei Gloriam, and that's because the rites of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuit priests. The Jesuits are essentially the modern-day Templars, the current military order of the Catholic Church. Joe Biden, like Trump, both Jesuit-educated men. I haven't looked into Hunter Biden's prep schools. I wouldn't be surprised if Hunter Biden also went to Jesuit prep schools. He definitely went to Yale and Georgetown, so at the university level, he's also Jesuit-educated Hunter Biden. But 57 date numerology, again, perfect day for big Hunter Biden news coming out of D.C., known as the Masonic City, but also the city where the Jesuits set up camp. And for the record, the word Rome also equates to 57. Again, D.C. was once known as Rome on the Potomac. I was just listening to this guy on that CT panel say, I don't think the U.S. has any historical connections with Rome. It's like the whole capital city's Roman architecture. DC was once called Rome on the Potomac. The land was gifted by a prominent Catholic named Francis Pope, not to be confused with the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. Again, that's the 266th Pope in the history of the church, the first Jesuit, and the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 266. That's why Pope Francis spoke in D.C. on the 266th day of the year, September 23rd, 2015. But anyhow, 57 date numerology for the pardon. The abbreviated date numerology for this day was 37, as we'll get to. And by the way, just for the record, Hunter Biden's actual birth name, first and last name, is Robert Biden. He's Robert Hunter Biden. Robert Biden, 112, going with that 1st of December date. So again, his name that he's known by and his birth name both fit in perfectly with the date. Sometimes I wonder if it's even better to show things like that, because I realize like the low IQs, which the United States produces in its populace, and the vast majority, they see something like this and they're like, well, wait a minute, now you got 2 ciphers and like you made it Robert Biden and Hunter Biden. It's like, okay, God, I don't know how everyone got off the short bus. You should realize, if you have a brain, that this makes it even more improbable that it would line up this perfectly. Plus, we're just getting into it. Again, the Special Olympians always have trouble keeping up. But anyhow, and then people always get mad too. See, Zach, that's why people don't watch, because you're ridiculing the American Yeah, I'm ridiculing the American populace because I'm fed up. It's called tough love. It's called catch up. It's called eat better. It's called get more sleep. It's called work on your intelligence. Stop being so pathetic. Stop listening to the TV. Stop dragging us all to hell. Yeah, my rants are perfectly justified in 2024. Let me tell you all about it. The only people crying about it are the same losers I'm talking about. Anyway, 37 date numerology. 37 date numerology was the lesser date numerology. Oh, you said 57, now 37. Yeah, it's all math based on the day. December 1st, 2024. 12 plus 1 plus 20 plus 24 is 57. There is an abbreviated path. You just drop the 20 part. It's 12 plus 1 plus 24. 37. Don't make me pull out the Brittany Griner example and how what the WNBA did for the Brittany Griner ritual with this exact abbreviated date numerology. You know what? In fact, I will. In fact, I will for the Special Olympians out there. Hold on. Just to make my point. If I can spell Brittany Griner right. I think this is it right here. I think this is it right here. Oh, no, that's not it. Hold up. There was a lot to the Brittany Griner thing, but I got to show you what her WNBA team did. And I think this is going to be it right here. Okay, she wears number 42. She came back on an abbreviated date numerology of 42, exactly 42 weeks after her detainment. Of course, 42 is coded all over Black history. Of course, Arizona equals 42, but where's what the WNBA team did? We are BG42. They had that, and here it is, right from their own social media. Phoenix Mercury gave you the date numerology of her return. They said, how perfect that number 42 returns on the abbreviated date numerology of 42. Again, that's because the whole thing was a psyop, because that's all you get in the news. You think everything in the news is fake? Yeah, where's your proof it's not? Show me anything that's been legit in the news in your lifetime. Give me one story. And I'm not talking about your local news. I'm talking about on your national corporate news, where every day it's nothing but programming and psyops and lies and agendas. Again, I got ample evidence that I've been right about how fake it all is and how contrived and ritualistic it is. Where's your argument? You don't have one. Other than, I just believe it because I do. All right, moving on. So we got it, right? The lesser 37 date numerology goes with Joe Biden in December. We got that, right? And by the way, Richard Nixon was the 37th president, because they're comparing this to they're saying this is the biggest pardon since the 37th president, getting pardoned by the 38th, Gerald Ford. And it's funny how Gerald Ford's back in the headlines, because we all know what he prophesized. That's the one thing I'll be surprised about if the prophecy of Gerald Ford does not happen. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to get to it. But again, it was Gerald Ford who pardoned the 37th president on the Virgin Mary's birthday, because it's all Catholic. And by the way, Beau Biden died at 46. Hunter Biden born on the 35th day of the year. Does that not remind you of JFK? The first Catholic president, number 35, killed at age 46. Catholic, when you run it forwards, is 35. When you run it in reverse, it's 46. And again, if you're new here, this is what the 4 base ciphers of the English language look like. You learn these 4 ciphers. You see through the ritualism day after day. All of these numbers play a big part in Catholic rituals again and again. You look at the Catholic Bible too. See, like, if anyone cannot understand how this is way beyond coincidence, it's just like the automatic litmus test for really low IQ. It just automatically, you just know that their brain power is so low that nothing that comes out of their mouth would ever matter. There are 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and there are 46 books. If you think it's an accident that the word Catholic equals 145 and 46 in light of that, your opinion doesn't matter. If you think it's an accident that the first Catholic president is number 35 and he's killed on I-35 at age 46, your opinion doesn't matter. Just like if you can't figure out that Biden being elected exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age, all things that we pointed out more than a year before it happened, your opinion doesn't matter. When the latest war started in Israel, the nation founded on 14/5 in tribute to the Catholic Old Testament, when you can't figure out that war began 71 days from the Pope's birthday on the 71st day of Putin's, or excuse me, 71 days from the Pope's birthday on Putin's 71st birthday, if you can't figure out that these things are not an accident, and then again, if you can't draw the conclusions from the easily verifiable information that the Catholic Church did give us the calendar and the language and the Bible as we know it, if you can't figure these things out, put it all together, literally, your opinion does not matter. You're of lemming status. Again, you might as well be a Special Olympian. I mean, you look at the populace. How could you say it was anything other than a populace of Special Olympians? I mean, you don't have any common sense. You don't take care of yourself. Half of the country's way overweight. They've now raised a populace of children where over half of them have obesity. It's Special Olympians raising future Special Olympians. This channel is about trying to change that through tough love. And again, if you're a softie and a little wimp, that's not my fault either. Okay. If you want to have your head played with every day and be lied to by authorities and think that's gospel, again, that's just the Special Olympian mentality. And that's not my fault. I'm the person pulling a few people out of it each day at a time, one video after the next, for everyone who can handle the tough love. But look at this, you guys. From Hunter Biden's birthday to this pardon, 301 days. In numerology, the only digits that matter there are the 3 and the 1. Pardon and Hunter both happen to equal 31. And let's go back in time, since they're comparing this to Gerald Ford and Richard Nixon. From Gerald Ford's pardon back to Richard Nixon's resignation was a span of 31 days. And like we said, September 8th, Virgin Mary's birthday, August 9th. That's the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Another special day to the Jesuits. Also, from Richard Nixon's death anniversary to this pardon was 31 weeks and 6 days. If you counted the full span of days, it would be a span of 32 weeks. Notice how pardon's got the 31 and the 32. And it's also got the 94, like the year Richard Nixon died. Richard Nixon dead in 94. And you know what else I realized? He died on the 112th day of the year. He died on Adam Lanza's birthday. Remember Adam Lanza, the 112-pound kid that supposedly shot up the 112 school? And it was compared to Dunblane Massacre, which happened on 112 date numerology. And then they got Alex Jones involved in the PSYOP, who has the 11/2 birthday, which is the same birthday as the Vatican. Isn't it funny how these same numbers here are the same ones we're talking about today? Just another major PSYOP on the populace. Yeah, if you don't know all about Adam Lanza, look it up. You'll see all the... Actually, you know what's crazy? I mean, you can still find them, but Google has tried to scrub all the articles of Adam Lanza weighing 112 pounds. It's funny how they're getting rid of that. I guess people are catching on. It's like, why did Google try to scrub that from their engine? Every mainstream article reported that Adam Lanza, born on the 112th day of the year, weighed 112 pounds. And you know how many countries the Jesuits operate in? How many countries do the Jesuits operate in? Let's get that one up. Oh, that's weird. 112 countries. You're covering too many numbers. What do you think is like every number? I mean, you started with 173 and 40 and now 112. I mean, how am I supposed to keep up? I barely made it out of slave school. Again, you guys, that's the only reason this isn't the most viral thing on the internet in 2024, what we're talking about every day. People are tuned into some probably CIA Iranian asset, or if you guys don't know, the CIA overthrew Iran on the Jesuit order's birthday back in the early 50s, August 15th, and now like the most popular podcast on YouTube, that Iranian guy who just gets on here and goes on Fox News in the afternoon and then does YouTube in the morning and has a gazillion viewers as they just shovel bullshit down your throat. Like, where did that guy come from? This Iranian, what's his name? Please, he's got this fake American name. That's not his real name. Where did this guy come from? Why is everyone watching this guy? Again, why have people chosen that information, which is nothing but bullshit, and they're not listening to this, where we're on point every single day exposing the whole psyop, calling it out before it happens? Again, because it's a nation of Special Olympians. That's why. That is why. There is no other explanation. All right, let's keep going through it. Let's keep moving through it. August 9th, the day of the resignation of Richard Nixon. That's the day leaving 144 days left in the air. It's also the day JFK's son died right before he got assassinated in a major Jesuit ritual, 144 days to meet with the Pope. Like how his brother would die 5 years later at 1:44 in the morning. And like how in 2023, RFK Jr. would get in the race officially on 4/5. Again, we said that day it foreshadowed assassination stories for Trump, number 45. Couldn't have been more on the money about that. But again, when RFK Jr. got in the race, it was exactly 144 days after the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits. And then you had the Trump shooting hoax on July 13th, the 195th day of the year when Robert Kennedy's 195. And then Biden gave him Secret Service protection when the Secret Service was created on 14/4 in history, the same day Lincoln was shot and the Jesuit John Surratt got away. They say the Jesuit plot, and then they assassinated his mother, or they executed his mother because they couldn't get John Surratt. But anyway, it was the day leaving 144 days left in the year that Nixon resigned, and now just this parallel with Biden and his son and Nixon and Gerald Ford. And notice, President Trump, President Biden, President Ford all equal 72. Hey, just wait until Trump gets in office and pardons the January 6thers, and then people are even more outraged. The polarization works even more. But again, 72 was the year Biden became senator-elect, the same year that Nixon became president-elect, and that was the 47th U.S. presidential election, going with Biden being in office for 47 years before he became president himself. Again, president, White House, government authority, Republican, Democrat, D.C., they all equal 47. The Masonic city, the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. It's a number of authority. Vatican also equals 47. But with regards to Ford, remember, it was Ford who said in the Herbert Hoover Library that someday there will be an old man who is president who will die in office and not finish his term, and he'll have a younger woman VP, and she will become the first female president. He said that in the Herbert Hoover Library, a man who died October 20th, 1964, the exact same day that Kamala Harris was born. October 20th, 1964. So I still think, and I've been saying this since they took office, that Biden will not finish his term. He could die like JFK did. He could resign like Richard Nixon did, and Kamala will become the first female president. Again, this was all foretold through Gerald Ford, as we've been pointing out for a long time now. And now this big story near the end of the administration, the biggest pardon since Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon. And that all goes back to the year 72. And again, 72, Jesuit order, 72. That's why we got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year, March 13th. It's why there's 72 bricks on the pyramid and the dollar. It's why the word money is 72. Again, the Jesuits have the Templar cross in the middle of their logo. The Templars are the original bankers. It's why we've been able to make so many dead-on calls with Bitcoin, including what we said at the beginning of the year. Get your earnings out after the 72nd day of the year. We said it over a month before it came around. We said Bitcoin will hit 72K on the 72nd day of the year, and then it will collapse after that. Pretty much exactly what happened. It ended up climbing up to 73K on the 73rd day, and then it collapsed, but it was at 72K on the 72nd day. And I didn't say it would. I said, get out your earnings. You can keep some in there. It will come back up because this is what it does. Just like markets, it ebbs and it flows. And notice, once you got President Trump back in there, friends with Klaus Schwab, the guy who said you'll own nothing and be happy, all the digital coins go up to the top. Again, talk about owning nothing and being happy, right? Ooh, my digital money is way up. I don't really have anything other than numbers on a computer screen, but man, I've never felt so good. Again, you guys, it's all part of the sick joke as they dupe people into embracing digital currency, something that'll be really easy to pull the rug out from under the populace of America when that psyop comes, and it will come. But again, Jesuit order 72, 72 names of God in Kabbalah, 72 demons in the Goetia. We just talked about the 144 with... Don't forget, you guys, Jesuit Georgetown simulated that Biden would win in 2020 on June 12, 2020. Look it up, the Transition Integrity Project. We were calling it out before it happened. I lost a whole channel over it. Before January 6th happened, I did 2 videos that each got a lot of views, and then the channel was deleted over that. I said, look into the simulation, Transition Integrity Project, Georgetown, June 12, 2020, 144 days before the election. Biden wins, Trump refuses to step down, which leads to a deadly altercation in America. And we were saying that looks like what they got planned for January 6th. This was before January 6th happened. So I said, expect deaths in the headlines on that day. Expect some kind of major conflict. Write about all of it. How does Google respond? Deletes my entire channel, which I didn't even have strikes on at the time, for severe medical misinformation. It's like, I didn't do any medical misinformation. I mean, I wrote a book about the scandemic that I was dead on about. I mean, in the book, I said why they'll wind down the scandemic as soon as the year of the tiger comes around. Look out for the shots that are meant to take lives, like Bill Gates told us at his TED Talk in 2010, right, as he went over to Davos for a decade of vaccine speech. Again, all those things were correct. So how's it medical misinformation? We were just way ahead of the curve, and had everybody taken our advice, we'd be a lot freer people, a lot more bodily sovereignty, a lot less health hazards, a lot less clot shots, a lot less scandemic money for big illegal pharma. You know what I mean? Medical misinformation. No, we're the only ones giving out the real information. We're the only ones being correct about our $1 million predictions. But anyway, coming back to the whole rap sheet here. Jesuit order with the alphabetic order and numerology, 54. Of course, their headquarters is at Building 54. John Carroll built Georgetown when he was 54 years old. Not to mention John Carroll equals 54. You know, poor Bo Biden, you know, the nickname, that was old 54. They did him dirty. But the day that Nixon was pardoned, September 8th, that's the 251st day of the year, which is the 54th prime number. Again, the Virgin Mary's birthday. Okay, so the pardon of Nixon had to do with his 54, and his resignation was on the day, leaving 144 days left in the year. It was Gerald Ford who did the pardon. You see the 153.72? Look at Gerald Ford. He's got the 54 forwards and backwards, right? Or it must be President Ford. It is President Ford. That's 153 and 72 forwards and backwards. And again, the naysayers would be like, well, President Gerald Ford doesn't equal that, though. Here, let's see if President Hubbard would have worked out like that. Let's just try it out. President Hubbard doesn't quite work out that way, does it? It does have some interesting numbers, I'll admit that. Maybe I can get in there after all. But again, these people have the perfect numbers that go with their ongoing rituals. And 72 was the year that all of these things came to be. Biden, senator-elect, Nixon, president-elect. And for the record, Richard Nixon, you know, resigns in 74. 74 is very special to the Masonic city, but his name also 74. Richard Nixon, literally 187, just like Washington, D.C. is 187. George Washington's 187. Society of Jesus, 187. Formal title of the Jesuits. Holy Roman Empire is 187. Brotherhood of Death is 187. That's Skull and Bones, Order 322 out of Yale. Anyway. Coming back to this 31 thing. Again, 301 days after Biden's birthday, key digits 3 and 1 were Biden and Hunter are 31. 31 days from the Nixon resignation to the pardon in history. 31 weeks and days from Nixon's death anniversary to this pardon. 31 is the 11th prime number. And from Biden's birthday to the pardon was 11 days later, the master number, doing things by numerology. 11. Okay. Also, from Hunter's birthday to the pardon was exactly 43 weeks. Again, DC's the Masonic city. This is no slouch of a number. Masonic 43. Yale 40. You know what else is 43? Richard is. now that I think about it. Richard's 43. Again, they're comparing this to the pardon of Richard Nixon. But Yale, 43. Hunter Biden went to Yale. Don't forget how they elected number 43 in the state where his brother was the 43rd governor, Florida, where their daddy was the 43rd vice president. So, again, he has the Yale connection, does Hunter. They're comparing this to the Ford pardon, Ford 43. You know what I mean? Why it matters. Biden's pardon for his son is the most sweeping presidential pardon in decades. Since then, President Ford issued a blanket pardon for former President Nixon. And again, that's the way everyone's covering it. The guilty verdict, let's not forget, was on the 11th of June. We're going to come back to that. Notice that from, actually here, let's go to that one real quick, and then we'll come back to the current pardon. Let's go back and revisit how perfect the June 11th pardon was. It was 177 days after the first Jesuit Pope's birthday. Hunter Biden's 177, like the Jesuit order. And from Biden taking office to the pardon was exactly 177 weeks into the administration. Again, we have a calendar sync with the Pope, thus the 52 weeks. Pope 52. Again, the whole system set up in the 16th century by the Jesuits. Again, it's all verifiable. You can look it all up. It's all facts. It's all his story. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Founders warned about what could happen if the Jesuits came out of suppression. But again, I mean, just think about how perfect that ritual is. 177 days after the Pope's birthday. Hunter Biden, guilty. Political theater. 177 weeks. Notice it was 40 months and days, too, into the administration. I know where we started with the 40 thing. But from Hunter's birthday to the verdict was 129 days, and 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. Just like I have here, the Jesuit order 177 and 201. So now here we are from Biden taking office on January 20th, a date that the majority of the world writes 20/1 like 201. Remember, that's also the 201st day of the nation's age, and it wasn't always Inauguration Day, but that's what day the Jesuits moved it to, just like how they moved the federal city to their camp. Started in Philly, not their camp, to D.C., their camp. Georgetown opens the same year we get the first recognized president in the history books, George Washington. But again, 201 weeks and days from them taking office to this divisive moment. Let's not overlook that it's 46 months either for number 46. But again, the Jesuit order 177 and 201. And this pairing's all over the place. A big one is Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab's Jesuit educated, runs the World Economic Forum. He's the one who put on the Event 201 simulation. These numbers, they get paired. Here's another example. And here, let's go back to this. I remember covering this like it was yesterday. The first, because remember everyone was like, oh, only Fox is covering the Hunter Biden story. Only Fox is covering it. CNN won't bring up the Hunter Biden story. And then what was the first day that the Hunter Biden story got covered by CNN, which is controlled by the same people at the end of the day who control Fox, corporate media, divisive media, political-based media. Yeah, of course, CNN's more of a neutral left site. Fox News was founded by Republican Party members. But again, it's two wings of the same bird. They're circulating the same stories each day. But the point is it was the 201st day of the year. It was the first time that CNN covered it. Federal investigation of Hunter Biden reaches critical juncture. This is the first time this story was on CNN's front page. And again, take it from me. I'm here all day, every day, documenting the news for the hope of waking up humanity from their slumber. Look at the other numbers up there, too. 187 minutes. What Trump did during, just all of this stuff, you guys, it's nothing but psyops. How many times have I talked to you about the significance of when Trump in 2016 had his convention in Cleveland starting on 18/7, 187 days from Inauguration Day? We just went over Washington, D.C., George Washington, the 187 list. And remember, Trump is Mr. 218 as well. Holy Roman Empire's got the 187 and 218. Trump's also Mr. 88. But right now, it's been 218 years, supposedly, since the Holy Roman Empire folded on August 6th, 1806, which was also the 218th day of the year. Trump, the father of the presidential alert that goes out at 2:18 Eastern time. But yeah, all it is coded number propaganda every day. So yeah, just take you back to another 201. And now 201 weeks into the administration, the pardon. And realize, I mean, think about how it is, you guys. Now this is what everyone's losing their hair over. Everyone's arguing about, oh my God, is it a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal. No, it's not that big a deal. This is what presidents do. Oh my God, this is such an injustice. What kind of justice system do we have in America? It's like, okay, all of this is BS. What kind of justice system do we have in America? We don't have one. We have one where money talks and everything else walks. What kind of democracy do we have? We don't have one. We have a republic, first of all, but the people have zero say in anything. Going out and participating in these rigged selections where you're giving these two bullshit candidates and they don't even count your votes anyway. That's not anything. And then once they get in there, they never follow through on anything that they planned. And then they start coming up with all these crazy ideas. And you're like, what, why are they doing this? Who talked about that? Who wants that? I mean, here we are in Washington State where our politicians are coming up with a whole bunch of things for us to vote on. Like, do you want income tax this year? Who the hell wants more taxes? Like, and then they try to show you some outcome that it was close. Oh, nearly people, the state of Washington almost wants income tax too. Oh, I'm sure that's what the people want, more taxes. It's just, the whole thing is a shit show, and that's what everyone should be focused on every day. It's a big rigged system. You're being lied to. You're being mocked. Your liberties are being stolen. Your food's becoming more poisonous. Your water's becoming more poisonous. Your air's becoming more poisonous. It's really the only thing that anyone needs to be talking about every day. And if that's what they would stay on point with every day, then maybe people would find the motivation to do something about it. But no, they have this new distraction today. Oh my God, Hunter Biden. In a couple weeks, it's going to be, oh my God, he pardoned all those criminals. I mean, it's just, yeah, and none of it matters. Everyone's looking at everything but what actually matters. By the way, what we started with, and see, this is the other thing for the short bus riders. They're like, but you said it was 173 days after the guilty verdict. Yeah, I did. And what's also a fair calculation of dates is from the guilty verdict to the pardon is a total span of 174 days. 173 days later is a fair measurement. 174, the span, is also a fair measurement. And notice, President Joe Biden, 174, right? New World Order. We've seen this all the time. 174 and 177. Going with Hunter Biden and his guilty verdict. And here's the other kicker. From the anniversary of Ford pardoning Nixon to this pardon is 84 days later. President Joe Biden, 174 and 84. It's just, you guys, this stuff goes on every day. What the naysayers want to look at is go, okay, you're showing me all this. No, I'm only going to listen to it if you can show me what room and what exact people planned this. It's like, again, why not just understand the network, the history? The Jesuits gave you the calendar and the language. They moved your capital city to their stronghold. They moved inauguration day to the 201st day of the year because that's symbolic to them, because they are the 201 order that was created 201 months after the 95 thesis being pinned. Understanding the network shows you where you need to go to push further into the investigation. The dum-dums sit on the sidelines and like, I don't want to move until this one guy figures it all out and takes down the $1 trillion government all by himself. No, I've shown more than enough evidence to get enough people to get on to further the investigation. And really what the investigation is the revolt that Thomas Jefferson told you about that needs to happen every 19 years or you'll lose rights and liberties. And that should also be very clear in the 21st century, where first they lie to you about 19 hijackers, and then 19 years later they give you the Cooties 19 to take away more rights and liberties and move the world in a more banker-controlled direction than ever. Again, a lot of funding for the wars on terrorism all across the world, a lot of funding for the Cooties pandemic and having to sustain societies with printed money and stimulus checks, all giving bankers more and more control over these nations because they're more and more indebted to them. Anyway, the system has been exposed. The lemmings are going to sit on the sidelines and make impossible requests because they know that they're impossible, because they're dishonest in themselves and like, okay, I see it, but I don't want to admit it because I'm a moral coward and I don't want to do anything. And
even though it is bad, I'm still comfortable enough here because here at my couch and there's still food in my fridge and the power's still on and I can still take a hot shower. And I still have some friends that we can point our fingers at the other political party because that's fun to do. Again, these are all loser mentalities. And it's why we're getting rocked by this cabal. You know, they know they got a ballless society that they can rule over, and they can put in a senile actor president, and they can put in a proud pussy grabber who wants to fuck his own daughter. And they know that that'll be good enough for the lemmings. Half of the lemmings will be appeased no matter what they put in there for them. But yeah, for people with the brain, that they see the jokes. And again, in the base ciphers, I mean, we've covered how the 177, 201, and 84 all fit in. The other number for the Jesuits is 69. I don't know if that necessarily fits in here. It might. I didn't catch it. But again, 84, United States of America, the Catholic Church, Jesuit, you want to add to that list, Masonry, no slouch of a number. You see the rig football game on Friday? You see it? 84 date numerology. First touchdown goes to number 84. Not an accident. The quarterback from White House, Texas, who they synced up his whole record with the rig selection this year. The Chiefs, the commander-in-chiefs. All right, so here, let's see how CNN reported. President Joe Biden's pardon of his son Hunter deepened an entanglement of politics and the rule of law that has tarnished faith in American justice and is almost certain to worsen in Donald Trump's second term. The Sunday evening move was a stunning development since Biden came to... Stunning! Oh, yeah, we're all stunned. We're all stunned by the political shit show. Who's stunned? I mean, doesn't this seem predictable? Oh, are we stunned because of the press secretary who's put in there by the numbers? Wasn't she putting in a 201 ritual too, if I recall? Because she said he wasn't going to do it? Oh, I guess we were all taking her at face value, of course. The beacon of honesty, anything coming out of D.C. The Sunday evening move was a stunning development since Biden came to office, vowing to restore the independence of the Justice Department, which has been eroded during Trump's first term, and because he had repeatedly said he wouldn't pardon his son. Now, weeks before he leaves the White House, Biden has wielded presidential power to absolve his son ahead of sentencing later this month over a pair of gun and tax convictions that emerged from the due process of law. You can go back and look at how that there was the big focus on Hunter Biden's gun charges on 6/3. Go back and look how they did that on June 3rd, 8 days before. That was like the whole focus of the media on 6/3, a tribute to JFK who got smoked in 63. Like how Biden had to show up in Texas after Uvalde on the 144th day of the year, but he waited to show up until it was the anniversary of JFK's birthday. Shows up in Texas, all ritualism. R.I.P. John Havlicek. We won't even get into that. But anyway, now weeks before he leaves the White House, Biden has wielded presidential power to absolve his son ahead of sentencings later this month over a pair of gun and tax convictions that emerged from the due process of law. His decision came days after special counsel Jack Smith. I remember that was a nice big 201 ritual, 201 days from Trump's birthday. What's his name? John Lumen Smith, 201. Lumen, the middle name, illuminated. Again, the whole 201 thing comes from the Hebrew alphabet where 201 represents illumination. Just like how the Jesuit order equals 201, like Order of Illuminati. Again, the Order of Illuminati founded by a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt. And by the way, don't forget this 201 either. Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan. And the average American will be like, who's that? Who's Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan? That's the guy who did the funeral for Beau Biden and the inauguration for Joe Biden. And again, Beau Biden died 201 days from the Pope's birthday. And again, inauguration day is the 201st day of the year. Beau Biden dead at 46, Joe Biden number 46. By the way, the Pope, what's his name? Jorge Mario Bergoglio. This is Pope Francis. 201. First Jesuit Pope, first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. That building has a name, Domus Sancte Marte 201. You look into it, it was built in tribute to a Pope who died on the 201st day of the year. For the record, Catholic Popes also 201. The Jesuits served the Pope. The Pope is the light of the world. Again, the Jesuit order, it's been all 201 since the beginning. Ignatius of Loyola, their founder. He was part of the Alumbrado, the precursor to the Illuminati as well. Another 201. All right. Alumbrado was the word. Didn't say that quite right, but
But again, here we just had the Jack Smith thing here because it's the United States of Amnesia. Let's just pull it up. Let's just pull it up. Who can remember last week? This happened November 25th, the same day that Trump proposed 25% taxes for Canada and Mexico. Of course, Trump's 25, the tarot deck, the Trump cards trump it all. But yes, it was 201 days before Trump's upcoming birthday, which he'll celebrate as the new Grover Cleveland. John Lumen Smith, 201. That's Jack Smith's name. Again, just a reminder that this whole thing started on the anniversary of the founder of the Illuminati dying, November 18th. From the foundational date of the Illuminati to the founder of the Illuminati dying on that day in 1830, 201 days. I mean, this is one of the most obvious examples ever because the guy's middle name is literally like the root word of Illuminati. I mean, it's just like, where's your argument? Where's your argument? There's all the coincidence every day. I mean, you got to be just a special kind of stupid. You got to be embarrassingly stupid. Yeah, there was more to this too. You can go back and cover last week's video, but don't forget Trump's birthday is the first of the last 201 days of the year, which is also the flag's birthday. All right, so again, his decision came days after special counsel Jack Smith moved to dismiss the federal cases against Trump over election interference and the hoarding of classified documents on the grounds that presidents can't be prosecuted. Taken together, the convergence of legal controversies raises questions about, again, I'm pretty sure that the Biden resignation is not far off because this is going to add to it. He's going to get political pressure from going against what he said, that he wouldn't pardon his son. He's already old and not with it. All these building narratives, and again, it could be, it could be a day where it's just like the 33-day Pope. Just all of a sudden, the headline breaks like, "Oh my God, he didn't wake up in his sleep." I mean, it could go that way with it too. But I will be surprised if Biden finishes his term, like we've been saying since the beginning. Taken together, the convergence of legal controversies raises questions about the bedrock notion that underpins the system of justice in the United States, that everyone, even presidents and their families, are equal before the law. I mean, who's believing shit like that? Until Sunday, Biden had not intervened in the cases against his son, and the White House always insisted that he wouldn't, even though the shifting political environment caused by Trump's election victory last month seemed likely to shift his calculations. Biden started informing staff of his decision on Saturday evening. A source familiar with the matter told CNN's Arlette Saenz, however you say it, and his team regrouped on Sunday morning to iron out the details. Taken together, the convergence of legal controversies raises questions about the bedrock notion. Why do I keep using that phrase? There's no bedrock to this nation. This nation's built on bullshit. This nation's like a pile of cow manure, Bedrock notion that underpins the system of justice in the United States, that everyone, even presidents and their families, are equal before the law. Again, like, who believes this stuff? Until Sunday, Biden had not intervened in the cases against his son, and the White House always insisted that he wouldn't, even though the shifting political environment caused by Trump's election victory last month seemed likely to shift his calculations. Biden started informing staff of his decision on, what in the world? How did we get the same paragraph two times? All right, sorry. I don't know what's going on with that reporting, but again, just the way all these stories unfold every day with the federal government. It doesn't matter if Biden's in there, Trump's in there, Obama's in there, a Bush is in there, a Clinton's in there. It doesn't matter. This is the way the story unfolds. These guys are essentially chosen actors for a script. The upcoming presidential administration, you could look at it as a TV series, an ongoing TV series. It's going to be season 47, or it might be season 48. Season 47 might be a really short season. It might be the Kamala Harris, a president for 1 month series, like William Henry Harrison, who was only president for a month, and like the president between the Grover Cleveland terms, who was also a Harrison. We could have season 47 be a month long, and then we get Trump in there, and maybe that'll go a full 4 years, or maybe it'll end up like JFK, cut a little bit short too, because they keep doing all these parallels with Trump and Kennedy. Remember, Kennedy equals 78 as he takes office with RFK Jr. after The scare on July 13th under the 13 stripes, 13 weeks from the anniversary of the establishment of the Secret Service, which was also 45 days after JFK's birthday anniversary. But yeah, again, nothing but political shit show. And anyhow, I think I've said enough. And again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. We got to get this work out there, and people have to learn to tolerate the rants. There wouldn't be anything to rant about if people would sharpen up and shape up, instead of just marching along to the tune of bullshit every day of the week, getting pulled into every psyop every day of the week. King Richard TV, you don't have to keep doing super chats, man. I appreciate it. Now we got one for the stream, so. But he says, check out the 56 people killed at soccer stampede in Guinea Stadium. Is this a new stampede? Do you remember when Trump ordered those airstrikes on Soleimani? And that's why they're saying Iran wants to assassinate him. Again, the nation that's been controlled by the CIA and the Jesuits since the 50s. But they said 56 people were killed at the Soleimani thing too. How do you spell that guy's name? I don't think that's quite right. But hold on, I'm going to pull up the piece. Soleimani. All right, here we go. This is on my old website, I believe. Yeah, look right here. Stampede at Iranian commander's Qassam Soleimani funeral kills at least 56. Soleimani, 56. Remember, Society of Jesus is 56. Same stuff over and over. It was 56 days after the president of Iran's birthday. Again, CIA-controlled nation. Society of Jesus, 56. Same numbers over and over. Jesuit-controlled news. Same numbers. Same rituals. And that's what they want. I mean, just people just like going crazy over their rigged sports games too. Happened on a Sunday. Remember, you can't get more Jesuit than Sunday. Look at, again, this 84 ritual with the pardon yesterday. 84 days after the pardoning of Nixon, which is being compared to. Just look at the overlap with Sunday and Jesuit. 84, 21, 78. Trump's taken office at 78. Biden took office at 78, so on and so forth. A tournament hosting the country's military leader, Meade Doumbouya, in the city of, is the N silent? Is it in Zurich or is it Zurich? I don't know. A red flag in the 82nd minute. The word game equals 82. So this is what pissed people off. Playing the games with the people's what's actually going on. An unnecessary red card is what made people mad. Here, let's see. Since this guy was in attendance, what do we know about him? He's 44 years old. I love that the military leader is 44 years old. It's just like Trump appointed the guy with the Templar tattoos on his chest to be the head of the Secretary of Defense at age 44. But military and 44, here we go again. Remember, his first appointment was Mad Dog 44. Mattis also 44. That was Trump the first time around. This guy's got a March 4th birthday. Remember, they reinstated Trump in Colorado on March 4th, the old inauguration day. I know we covered that Colorado thing in spades, called out the whole thing before it happened. I know the video that day we said, oh, here's more signs. He's coming back to be inaugurated as the next Grover Cleveland. This happened 38 weeks and days after his birthday. Death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. He's the general and the president of Guinea. Okay, what the article just say? Okay, military leader. He's the leader and the military leader. Yeah, it's a military-run state. And look at that. It comes from France, right? He gained his status in France, where the Jesuits are from. The founder of the Jesuits killed in 1556, 84 days from his birthday. That's Ignatius of Loyola, replaced by the Jew Diego Lainez. And for the record, Paris, France is another 56. So another 187 there too. A lot of Society of Jesus overlap. We'll see if the death toll goes up to 57 later. I'm almost surprised they didn't go there. His name's got the 78 like Sunday. Check out the city. The city's got the old 54 Jesuit connection. His name equals 57 like Guinea. Isn't that perfect? How old is the nation of Guinea? All these places got carved up after the World Wars. They got independence from France in 58. On October 2nd, what a date. 10-2, right? The whole Slavery 102 code. This isn't it sick? This ritual happened 60 days after their Independence Day. You know, that racist term that one CT likes to call his fellow black men. 60 and 102. Independence on 10-2, 60 days from that anniversary. Those numbers come together a lot. I don't think that's an accident either. But yeah, there's probably more to it. You look into the actual teams. 56 is the old Jesuit signal number. I am almost surprised they didn't go with 57 in light of the leader in Guinea. Here, okay, so that they've been under military rule since 2021. Must be when he took office. Here, what day did the And see, so it happened on September 5th, the overthrow of Guinea. Isn't that perfect? 9-5, the old Jesuits in 95 created the counter the 95 Theses. Again, created 201 months after the anniversary or after the 95 Theses being pinned. And that goes with like the military world game starting in 95 in Italy and event 201 being on the same day they took place. Goes with MLK getting smoked on the 95th day of the year, named after Martin Luther, who wrote the 95 Theses. And then the nation's first gun control coming 201 days later, et cetera, et cetera. It goes with us giving $95 billion to Israel and Ukraine on the 201st day of the war in Israel, et cetera, et cetera. But September 5th. That was the day leaving 117 days left in the year. What did I just see about? Was it his name or was it the city where this happened at? I know I just saw 117 up here when I was plugging this stuff in. Maybe it was the town. So the country was overthrown on September 5th. And let me make sure I got that right. Whoops, not 65. September 5th is the day leaving 117 days in the year. You know, that's also the 248th day of the year. The Illuminati is 248 years old right now. So then he's at this soccer game, and these people get stampeded in this town. And by the way, just another big 117. I mean, the U.S. is active all over the nation. Central Intelligence Agency's 117. But okay, the overthrow of the nation to this tragedy on Sunday, December 1st. 38 months. 38 months and days. 169 weeks. 169's got a square root of 13. It's like, did the U.S. have a hand in this? And I suppose the other thing about the September 5th overthrow date is the majority of the world writes that date 5-9. 59 all over Black History, slave, Negro, blues, Rasta. 5-9. I guess the one other thing that's obvious about this is, let me spell it right. Blood sacrifice 121, December 1st. That day can be written 12-1. All these people dead at a soccer game, apparently because of a red card in the 82nd minute, playing the game with the fans. That's what it's really all about. Playing with the fans' heads. That's what they do with all these. I mean, you watch the sports games on TV too. They always love to show just the fans that are so sad and defeated. If you were watching the Eagles-Ravens game last night, end of the game, they're going all throughout the stands. They found that if you were watching the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They found a girl who's pretty attractive, zoomed in on her, just like kept the camera on her. She was all sad and looking like she was ready to cry with her Ravens beanie on. It's like, God, it's every week and nobody catches on. Like, yeah, we sucked them in. We stole their money. We sold them $20 hot dogs and $20 beers. Then we sent them home with our foot up their ass again. And watch, they'll come back next week too. They'll come back for more next week. So. Oh, I should have done soccer stampede. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's the 56, huh? Yeah, 56 and 79, just like Society of Jesus. Who remembers all the 56, 79s in the time of the cooties? Yeah. According to CT's channel, Richard's not 25 yet, so his brain hasn't developed, so he believes that this means something. Meanwhile, they're over there calling each other NIGGERs and, I voted for Trump. We're adults. That's what adults do. They vote for orange goons. When your brains develop like us, you'll be over here just talking shit about each other. That's what adults do. Yeah, a good one, King Richard. Yeah, the 56 is right there. Soccer stampede. Thank you very much, Ellie. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rick James. Thanks for gifting 2 memberships, Rick James. Appreciate it, man. All right. I think that's enough for now. We went overtime. So, yeah, great catch, King Richard. Thank you for the tip as well. But, yeah, soccer stampede, 56. I mean, what a joke. And yeah, don't kid yourself if it does tick up to 57, or by the time it's all said and done, Wikipedia's adjusted it to 57. I mean, you see these things happen all the time too. The initial number, and then there's what gets reported a month or a week later. So, and also, you guys, I am planning to get back to doing the podcast that I started with earlier this year and got away from because I got frustrated that it didn't get any views. But I realized I got to follow through with that project. So, yeah, the podcast idea is coming back. Well, I mean, them reporting the coming bird flu is not really that exciting, isn't it? I mean, hasn't that been going on for 20 years now? I mean, the fear mongering of another outbreak, I mean, it's like, I see that. I'm like, you guys probably aren't that old if you're caught up in that. I mean, it's just like they do that all the time. I mean, when weren't they doing that? Remember how the news on the 138th day of the year? It was the same day I was going out to Buffalo. It was the 138th day of the year, and the breaking news that day was, the monkeypox threat, and the government's getting billions of dollars to get monkeypox jabs ready. Just a whole bunch of money. And it's like, that's what they're always doing. They just give you nonstop bullshit. That's why, I mean, when you guys are like, here, Zach, can you decode this? Can you decode this? You guys, I've shown you for 11 years, every day, every news story is fake. Literally, I've proven that to you. All the mainstream news stories are fake. They're all contrived by the numbers. They're all rituals. It's not going to be anything different tomorrow or the day after that. I could sit here for the next 11 years. The reality is there's not enough people out there helping get out the message. There's not enough King Richards in the world. There's not enough people helping more people become aware of it. And like, really, I mean, and see, I mean, the thing about doing this and exposing it is it makes you the target of the cabal, and you have to deal with all this bullshit and continuous slander and harassment and weirdos and people harassing your sweet lady and your mom. And again, you guys, I mean, how great was this presentation I gave you today? How many resources did we generate for the cause? We generated $5 minus 30%, so that's $3.50 after YouTube tax. $2, that's going to be $1.20. And 2 memberships, that's also going to be $1.20. So we racked up $2.40 plus $3.50. So we got $5.90 to help, change the world with the cause. And that's why when my trolls are out there saying, "Oh, Zach's taken all this community money and done things for his own self-betterment." Stop lying, troll. Nobody supports the actual work that I do, troll. The only work that gets supported is sports decoding. None of those people care about the movement. They care about sports picks and winning and gambling. That's where the revenue comes in for this work. When I'm saying, hey, I found a great building. You guys want to create GematriaEffectNews? $0 come in, or I'm probably undermining the $100 that did come in. There probably $100 came in. Unfortunately, $100 doesn't pay for a building, okay? Then I go do a sports decode, and 100 people sign up for the work, all right? Again, the troll knows this too. That's why he's totally dishonest and everything's edited and cut up. There is very little support for the actual work that I do that I care the most about, okay? This is par for the course, $5.90 for an over hour-long broadcast. And we were at the hour mark and we'd raised $0. So again, when you're listening to trolls talk about how I stole money from the community, first of all, what the troll discounted is I'm married to a doctor who makes very good money. And, she's the breadwinner in this house right now. And no, I haven't stolen any money for anybody. What I invest into the community through that website, that's more than what comes in for the work outside of the sports work. So I'm taking what I earn from the sports work and putting that back into the community to try and build something. That's the reality of the situation. Anybody who has different facts, let me know about it, because I'll prove you wrong all day. And every live stream I do should be proof of that. Again, we're talking about this CT troll channel. If he's on for an hour, he's probably raised at least a couple $100, if not more than that. And all they're doing over there is calling each other NIGGERs and talking shit about each other and explaining how black people are greater than white people, or white people are greater than black people, or how liberals are dumb or Republicans are dumb. I mean, that's the whole channel's about. It's like, okay, so this is like some kind of gross cesspool of information and like a pissing contest and just nothing but hate. Hey, but it generates money like crazy. So why would he come on and do anything different the next day? You know what I mean? No, it gets annoying, like constantly being harassed by weirdos and trolled and people lying about you. And again, there's been very little support for this work. Again, I mean, do you guys remember my Patreon? I put my book up there. It was up for like 3 months, or no, it was up for about. Again, I remember now, I could not get anyone to print the book, so I put it up as an ebook for $5 on Patreon. I remember now, it was in March. It's coming back to me. I put it up on March for $5 on Patreon to get the ebook. 800-page book, by the way, pretty good value. And there was also a tier that if you wanted to buy it for $10 or something, if you want to pay extra for it. From March to September, the Patreon raised a total of $1,000 in book sales. So that means it sold between like probably about, we'll just say 200 copies over the course of 5 months, 6 months. When I said I was going to start doing football picks on Patreon, it went up a lot more overnight. Okay. So anybody who wants to ever come here and say that I stole community money, you're a lying fraud. There's very little money that was ever put towards the work. A lot of money has been put towards sports picks. Okay. Those aren't, and again, what happened when I went across the country and didn't do sports pick for 2 weeks? Almost everyone quit the Patreon. I spent 2 weeks doing something unprecedented, a super hard grind, and for that lost a lot of support. So again, don't ever come at me with, just shut up, loser living in your mom's basement, literally, providing nothing to the world, chopping up my videos and making them super misleading. Please. Yeah, we can do a stream about that later. And again, you're going to hear the only weirdo who's going to call in and say anything is the same guy who claims that he wrote my book, Marco, the worst decoder on earth. It's like a few trolls trying to create a narrative that's totally false. For the troll asking the question, why don't you look it up yourself? Self-explanatory. Because you got to get a doctorate to become that. So you're a doctor. A doctorate is what you must achieve to get that degree, that certificate, to have that status. So you're asking just moronic questions. My trolls. Anytime I look out of the chat, I'm like, oh, there's another moronic troll. Can't even do a Google search. And by the way, when you get promotions at your work too, you climb the ladder. So. Again, jealous loser haters out there making up narratives and stories, being disingenuous all the time. The same troll. The same troll is going to have to take down a video he put down earlier this year trying to make fun of another future that looks like it's well on its way. It is sad that I need to explain any of this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So... yeah. Anyone coming at me saying fraud, criminal, stole, you're full of shit. You're looking at a very generous person who's given out all of his work for free, pretty much, continues to give out work for free. And by the way, I said for Cyber Monday, I'd put up my ebooks again for free on the top pinned Patreon post. I'll do that after this stream. But again, everything I put back into this community is a lot more than what was ever raised to do things like the things I've asked for people to support. It's not even a contest. Again, I consider doing the sports work and what I raise from that, I consider that my work from my labor. And I don't know who'd ever argue against that anyway. And I remember having this conversation way back in whatever year it was, 2019 or 2020, when I hired Rambo and he did absolutely nothing. And then I said, you know what, I got to pull the plug on this because it made a whole bunch of other people butthurt that they didn't get hired. I hired a guy who I thought was going to do something and who did absolutely nothing. And a bunch of them got really mad. They thought they should have been the hire, not Rambo. But I remember doing we did a stream to say, where do we go from here? And everyone who essentially called in was like, Zach, listen, I donate money to you because I want to see you stay on here and be able to sustain yourself and continue to do this work. That's what I really care about. And that was pretty much all the calls into that stream that day. There wasn't really anyone who called in with anything different to say. But then you got this network of trolls always trying to paint this picture. A network of trolls who've never donated anything to the cause, who just sit on the sidelines and hate. That's what you call a pack of disingenuous losers. Anytime that troll puts out the video, the first comment always comes from one person that I know is a real person. That's the same person who begged me to come out and listen to them so that he could have a shoulder to cry on, and ran up a bill for me the first time I came out to sit there and listen to him cry for 3 hours. He needed me to come down to Seattle where he was in the heat of traffic. So I had to drive through thick traffic, expensive parking. Then he doesn't have any money. He's hungry. He needs something to drink. Sit there for 3 hours, eat up my own time. And then he wanted to meet again for lunch. And racks up an even bigger bill, just kept ordering everything on the menu. I mean, the guy literally ordered multiple desserts after he ordered like 5 or 6 dishes for himself and multiple beverages. Who does that? Who orders multiple desserts after ordering a whole bunch of food and then multiple drinks? And then I remember after doing that, then he went online and said that I was a shill who didn't let him in my house, which wasn't true either. He didn't ask to come in. He met at my house. I asked it. Literally, when he got there, I said, hey, do you want to come in for a minute? He's like, no, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. I mean, that's exactly how it went. And then I take him out to eat, racks up a huge bill, and then makes a video like the next day or 2 days later saying that I'm a bad person. And that's the same person that's always like the first person to comment in the Trolls channel. So these are the people out there that want to say, I'm the bad guy. I mean, please. That guy leaves comments like, yeah, someday Zach will burn in hell. What? Because I spent like $300 and some on your lunch tab? Please. No, trust me, you guys. My troll network is a bunch of just like literal filth. Literal filth. And that's why they'll never come on here and debate or argue. They'll sit there and make edited videos and slanders and dox my information. And we know what the troll's really helping for. He's been here to watch my properties get vandalized over the years. He wants to put out information and put out addresses, hoping the same thing will happen again. That's what he's doing from the comfort of his mother's basement. And again, all you're really doing is, you know, again, telling a false narrative. Again, look at the dates of the properties you're looking at. You notice that was after Sweet Lady been working for a comfortable amount of time. And like I said, back in spring, Sweet Lady got a nice promotion. She is paid very well at this point. And again, smart people make smart investments. It's called creating passive income. You know, if you were more intelligent, you'd be doing things like that with your own life rather than sitting online harassing and trolling and slandering somebody. So I'll address all this more, and we'll see if any of these trolls want to call in and have a debate. And then we'll see who wins the debate. I'll stand on my point all day long. All right, Science Guy says the books are only $5, and I recently got one, and the knowledge is honestly worth much more. Of course it is. Of course it is. And again, I've always given out the books for free as well. So the link for my Patreon in the description of every video. If you've never read my ebooks, I'm going to make them both free. They're going to be the top pinned comment. They'll be pinned on December 2nd. So if you watch this video later, you'll have to go to Patreon and scroll back to December 2nd, because every time I post on Patreon, it goes in chronological order, and then what was posted before goes down chronologically. So I'm going to post that right now. If you go there right now, it's going to be the top 10 post. I'm going to post sports stuff later today because that's what people support. And then it'll get bumped down a post, but it'll still be there. So you might have to just scroll down a little bit to find the free ebooks. Cyber Monday deal of the year, you know. So, all right. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to the people who made donations. And until next time.